SMOD, Standard Method of Detailing Structural Concrete, about cover detail of common elements. The required nominal cover should be specified by the designer. Cover to reinforcement is required to ensure the safe transmission of bond forces. The minimum cover should not be less than the bar size, or equivalent bar size for bundles of bars. The protection of the steel against corrosion. Adequate fire resistance. The importance of achieving cover cannot be overstressed since the durability of the structure is often determined by this. Nominal cover is the cover specified by the designer and shown on the structural drawings. Nominal cover is defined as the minimum cover, plus an allowance in design for deviation to all steel reinforcement. It should be specified to the reinforcement nearest to the surface of the concrete, e.g. links in a beam. The nominal cover to a link should be such that the resulting cover to the main bar is at least equal to the size of the main bar, or to a bar of equivalent size in the case of pairs or bundles of 3 or more bars. Plus deviation. Where no links are present, the nominal cover should be at least equal to the size of the bar plus deviation. Where special surface treatments are used, e.g. bush hammering, the expected depth of treatment should be added to the nominal cover. Nominal covers should not be less than the maximum, nominal, aggregate size. Deviation. Where it is specified that only a contractor with a recognized quality system shall do the work, e.g. member of SPECC, the specialist. Concrete Contractors Certification Scheme, deviation equals 5 mm, otherwise it is 10 mm. Cutting and bending tolerances. Normally bending dimensions of reinforcement are given without taking account of cutting and bending tolerances. However, where close-fit conditions exist, these should be considered at an early stage, otherwise increases in member size may occur at a much later and more expensive stage in the job. Large-scale sketches may help to show up any problems. Where an overall or an internal dimension of a bent bar is specified, the tolerance, unless otherwise stated, is as given in Table 5.4. On page 38. The cutting length is the sum of the bending dimensions and allowances specified, rounded up to the nearest 25 mm. Closed detailing tolerances. Where a closed system of detailing has been used and the reinforcement is required to fit between two concrete faces, e.g. beams, columns, a deduction for cover to include member dimensional and bending tolerances is given in Table 5.5 on page 38. This assumes a tolerance on the member size of 5 mm for a size of member up to 2 m, 10 mm otherwise. An allowance should also be made for the deformities of the bar. The tables are shows here for your reference. Nominal cover for solid slabs. Internal use, concrete inside buildings with low air humidity, XC1. 15 mm or bar diameter, plus deviation, whichever is greater. External use, corrosion induced by carbonation, XC3 35 mm and deviation. Nominal cover for beams. Internal use, 30 mm and deviation, concrete inside buildings with low air humidity, XC1. External use, 35 mm plus def, corrosion induced by carbonation, XC3. Note: the cover to grouped bars should be for the equivalent bar size. Top cover may be determined by slab or transverse beam reinforcement. For the purposes of 4-hour fire resistance, supplementary reinforcement may be required where the nominal cover exceeds 40 mm. Nominal cover for column. Internal use 30 mm and deviation, concrete inside buildings with low air humidity, XC1. External use 35 mm and deviation, corrosion induced by carbonation, XC3. The cover to bundled bars should be the equivalent bar size. Where nominal cover, i.e. cover to outermost steel, exceeds 40 mm, where the axis distance to the main reinforcement is greater than 70 mm, there is a danger of concrete spalling in fire, and surface reinforcement should be provided. The surface reinforcement mesh should have a spacing not greater than 100 mm, and a diameter not less than 4 mm. Nominal cover for wall. Horizontal bars are placed outside the vertical bars and cover is measured to these. Internal use, 15 mm or bar diameter, plus deviation, concrete inside buildings with low air humidity XC1, whichever is greater. External use 35 mm and deviation, corrosion induced by carbonation, XC3. Nominal cover for retaining wall. Cover is measured to the outer layer of reinforcement. Internal face, 20 mm or bar size, plus deviation, whichever is greater. Concrete inside buildings with low air humidity XC1. This may be modified by particular internal environment. External face, 35 mm and deviation, corrosion induced by carbonation, XC3. Earth face, 45 mm and deviation. Nominal cover for foundation. Large foundations, pile caps, pad and wall footings, 75 mm. Bottom cover for piled foundations, 100 mm. The extra cover recognizes that piles project into the cap and the reinforcement mat is laid on them. Earth face, 45 mm and deviation. External exposed face, 35 mm and deviation, other than earth faces. Internal face, 25 mm or bar size, plus deviation whichever is the larger. This refers to the top of ground slabs, inside trenches, etc. Nominal cover for staircase. Internal use, 15 mm or bar size, plus deviation, concrete inside buildings with low air humidity XC1, whichever is greater. External use 35 mm and deviation, corrosion induced by carbonation, XC3. The top cover also applies at the throat of the stairway. Where there will be no applied finish, allow an extra 10 mm on the top wearing surface. Nominal cover for corbels. Internal use, 25 mm and deviation, concrete inside buildings with low air humidity, XC1. External use, 35 mm and deviation, corrosion induced by carbonation, XC3. Note: the cover to grouped bars should be for the equivalent bar size. For the purposes of 4-hour fire resistance, supplementary reinforcement may be required where the nominal cover exceeds 40 mm. Continuous nibs and slab half joints. Internal use, 20 mm or bar size whichever is greater, concrete inside buildings with low air humidity, XC1. External use 40 mm, corrosion induced by carbonation, XC3. Thank you. For more videos please subscribe. Feel Free Creations Rebar Details.